Have you seen how much this has changed since you first gave it to me here? Suppose you say I have too. There's something I've realized just lately. That all life is precious, but that is not about killing or not killing. It's about what you do with the time that you have. And the people that you have, you know?
Upon reaching Padre, Morgan and Madison are taken to an interrogation room. When Morgan wakes up, he is offered to become a collector by the island's leader, also named Padre. Shrike walks in and plays the sound of an uncomfortable baby on her radio. She tells Morgan that this is the sound of the island's newest intake, as she and Padre suspect Morgan to be the parent of the child brought in by Madison. Realizing the danger that they are in, Morgan and Madison proceed to fight against the guards and end up overpowering them. Madison stays behind in an effort to give Morgan a chance to escape and rescue Mo from Padre's clutches. 7 years have passed since that fateful day. Madison has survived all these years in captivity on Padre. She has been used for experimentation by Shrike, Padre's second-in-command, and wishes now to end her own life, taking solace in the fact that she helped Morgan rescue Mo. Amid her suffering, a young girl named Ren appears before her. Ren tells Madison that she has heard rumors about how Madison was a skilled warrior who caused heavy casualties to Padre and their mission. She requests Madison to train her to become stronger. However, Madison comes to a startling realization that the girl is Mo when she identifies a scar on her wrist. Mo has been subjected to indoctrination and manipulation by Padre throughout the years, making her reluctant to trust Madison. Nevertheless, Madison convinces Mo to follow her, and they set out to escape the island together. Madison then leads Mo to a swamp on the edge of the island, where they unexpectedly encounter Morgan. To her surprise, Morgan reveals to her that he now works for Padre as a collector. Something happened 7 years ago that makes Morgan believe that Mo's safety is best secured by remaining on the island. Leading them through the treacherous terrain, Morgan guides them to a houseboat nestled within a swamp, teeming with walkers. Inside the houseboat, Mo finds clues to Morgan's past life and a tape recording of a lullaby being sung by a woman. Amidst a relentless attack from the walkers, Morgan finally confesses that something similar happened 7 years ago, forcing him to give up Mo to Padre to ensure the safety of his child. The walkers then storm the houseboat and start trying to climb it. With the added weight, the houseboat starts to sink. Sensing imminent doom, Madison clears a way for Morgan and Mo to escape, attempting to sacrifice herself once more for the father-daughter duo. Just as the walkers are about to get to Madison, Grace arrives in a moment of providence on a speedboat armed with guns and manages to rescue all three of them. In the aftermath of the rescue, both Morgan and Grace reluctantly agree that Mo should be returned to Padre for her safety. Disillusioned with the organization that has manipulated her to believe that she is no better than an orphan, Mo implores her parents to flee with her and start a new life elsewhere. Heartbreakingly, her parents refuse, unwilling to abandon the comfort and perceived safety that Padre offers. Madison is taken back into custody, while Morgan, whose loyalty to Mo may supersede his allegiance to Padre, is dismissed from his position as a collector. Mo is taken back to the island, where she is interrogated by Padre's leader and offered another chance to help the cause that she has been training for. She convinces him that she has learned her lesson and resumes her training. Hiding deep into the woods, June hangs up warning signs on trees, exposing Padre's evil child abduction scheme to any onlooker. She lives in solitude and harbors a deep resentment towards the Padre collectors. Carefully watching their movements, she launches a wild attack on the collectors' boats, using sedative darts and bullets shot through her hunting rifle. Once she subdues a boat, she proceeds to sever their trigger fingers, collecting them in a jar. While heading back to her makeshift base of operations, an abandoned shed, she notices messages written on the warning signs she has hung up, and is soon encountered by a desperate father named Adrian, who makes a plea for her help in rescuing his abducted daughter from Padre. June turns Adrian away and threatens to kill him if he dares approach her again. Later, she attacks another collector boat, only this time, to her surprise, there are no collectors on it. Rather, she incapacitates Dwight and Sherry, who were on the boat with their ailing son, Finch. Upon gaining consciousness, they explain to June that their son has appendicitis and that Finch is unaware that they are his parents. Dwight and Sherry ask for their help in saving their son, who requires urgent medical intervention. June agrees reluctantly and leads the trio to a laboratory set up on an abandoned train. Aboard the train, Dwight and Sherry find evidence of heinous and gruesome experiments conducted on humans and walkers alike, and question June about the situation and how she knew that there was a medical facility there. June confides in them and reveals that Padre had her working here, experimenting on people to develop a radiation treatment for walker bites. The radiation research was based on June's deduction on Alicia's survival due to prior exposure to radiation. However, she mentions that none of the subjects were able to survive the experiments, and either died or turned into walkers. Amidst her efforts to save Finch, she is confronted by a furious Adrian, who discovers his daughter Hannah among the many walkers on board. She defends herself by further iterating that she was forced by Shrike to continue with the experiments despite the obvious failure of their endeavor, leading to her abandoning her research and escaping from her dark past. A distraught Adrian, overwhelmed by despair, chooses a devastating fate to be devoured by his own daughter, as he is unable to come to grips with his grief. In a race against time, June then manages to save Finch and makes the difficult decision to join Dwight and Sherry in escaping the island. However, as they move out with newfound hope, they are confronted by Shrike and her prefects, aka the former abducted children who capture them. Shrike exacts her vengeance on June by severing her trigger finger and orchestrates a horrifying act by having Finch bitten by an undead Adrian. This act is intended to compel June to carry on with her research in order to save Finch once again, and in doing so, manufacture a cure for Padre. Elsewhere, Morgan and Madison are being transported back to Padre's base of operations. Morgan shares his guilt with Madison and confides in her, explaining that he has unresolved business that has had a straining effect on his relationship with Mo. Empathizing with Morgan, Madison helps him escape and urges him to rectify the issue from his past. Once again, Madison sacrifices herself by staying behind and clearing the way for Morgan to escape. June treats Finch with an experimental radiation treatment, and his symptoms seem to get better. A sinister Shrike then sets her sights on conducting experiments on Madison. However, Mo grows suspicious of Finch's fate and convinces Dove, another former abducted child by Padre, to embark on a daring mission. They locate the train and barge in, creating a distraction and allowing June to overpower Shrike and her forces. As they are about to leave, the group finds themselves surrounded and captured by a faction that Adrian was previously a part of. The faction is revealed to be led by Daniel, who was once almost a member of Padre, but was abandoned by the organization due to his age. Daniel tells Madison and the others that he organized a resistance movement, consisting of parents united by the common goal of rescuing their children from Padre's grip. Whilst captured, Shrike experiences a flashback. 12 years ago, her father, General Krennic, a high-ranking officer in the U.S. Army, prepared for the distribution of vital supplies stockpiled by Padre, aimed at rebuilding civilization in the aftermath of the outbreak. Tragically, the shipyard where the supplies are located is overrun by walkers. Krennic heads out to deal with the situation, but Ben, his son and Shrike's brother, notices that he left behind his set of binoculars. Ben then locks his sister in the captain's cabin and moves out to deliver the coveted set of binoculars to his father. Sam, now known as Shrike, breaks free from the cabin and finds her brother, who is surrounded by walkers and is about to be devoured. However, their father intervenes and shoots down the horde of walkers surrounding his son, and proceeds to rush his children to safety. He manages to have them climb on top of a container, but falls victim to the walkers' relentless attacks. In his final moments, he implores his children, Sam and Ben, to carry on with Padre's crucial mission. In the present, Shrike is about to be put to death by June when she reveals that she is the daughter of Padre. Following this, Madison, June, and Dove, with Shrike as their hostage, leverage her relationship with Padre to return to the island and confront Padre's enigmatic leader, who is revealed to be none other than Shrike's brother, Ben. Unraveling the truth behind their father's demise, it becomes clear that Shrike and Ben have restructured Padre to both protect children from the pain of losing their parents and work towards rebuilding the shattered world by any means necessary. Madison then forces Ben to have his people hand over the files and records of all the children who were abducted by Padre. However, tensions escalate when Dove discovers her true identity as Odessa Sanderson and her mother's tragic death in Louisiana, which Shrike claims only happened due to Madison convincing her mother that she could save her child from Padre. This revelation prompts Dove to turn against Madison, leading to a dramatic rift within the group. In a twist of fate, Daniel comes to the rescue of Madison and June, taking them to safety and vows to find Morgan to enlist his help. Meanwhile, Shrike returns to the shipyard and shares her plans with Ben to clear out the walkers and initiate the expansion they believe their father intended. Having escaped Padre, Morgan journeys to King County. He is there to end the life and suffering of his zombified son, Dwayne. He approaches the house he used to hide in with his deceased family, but is unable to muster the courage to enter. In a fit of rage, he lays waste to several walkers that are busy devouring a skunk. Unexpectedly, he finds that Grace has followed him there, claiming that he left a hidden message instructing her to meet him there. Unaware and surprised by Grace's story, Morgan checks the back of the truck to find his daughter Mo hiding inside. Mo admits that she is the one who planted the message that Grace received. Suddenly, Morgan sees two horsemen approach. They reveal themselves to Dwight and Sherry, who have been coerced by Padre into hunting Morgan down. They allow for an opportunity for Morgan to escape with his new family to a nearby house. As they delve deeper into their quest, Morgan reveals the heartbreaking truth that his wife, Jenny, had bitten Dwayne after he could not muster the strength to take her out, when he had the opportunity. Overwhelmed by guilt and grief, Morgan now seeks closure by bringing an end to Dwayne's suffering. In an unexpected turn of events, Morgan and Grace find themselves captured, with Mo still hiding in the house they took refuge in. Morgan is compelled to prove to Shrike's forces the authenticity of their intentions regarding Morgan's mission. Despite their best efforts, they are unable to locate any trace of Dwayne, and Shrike is convinced that Morgan is deceiving her yet again. She then orders her soldiers to execute Morgan and Grace. However, Dwight and Sherry, unwilling to allow Morgan to face execution, intervene by eliminating the guards and aiding Morgan and Grace in escaping from Shrike's clutches. Later, Grace confides in Morgan, confessing the harsh reality of her terminal illness caused by exposure to radiation. While desperately trying to escape from Morgan's residence, which had caught fire due to a stray flare, Mo makes a startling discovery. Her father had once confined Dwayne to the attic during a period of insanity. With Mo's life in jeopardy, Morgan finally musters the courage to fulfill his duty, wielding the gun that Rick Grimes had left for him, and eventually puts an end to Dwayne's existence. In a somber ceremony, he lays to rest the bodies of Jenny and Dwayne, granting them the peace they deserve. Shortly after, tragedy strikes again as a walker emerges from the rubble of the burnt house and sinks its teeth into Grace, infecting her. Filled with determination and love, Morgan vows to bring Grace to June, hoping that she can work a miracle for her as she did for Finch before. Morgan, accompanied by Mo, Dwight, Sherry, and Finch, carries Grace onto a boat, desperately trying to transport her to June, who was awaiting their arrival at the medical facility aboard the train. They are communicating through a radio, with Morgan updating June on Grace's symptoms. In pursuit are a couple of Shrike's prefects who have opened fire upon them, but the crew remains unfazed. Suddenly, their communication is interrupted by Shrike joining the conversation. Impressed by the carnage Morgan left behind in King County, she offers him a deal. She will allow June to administer treatment on Grace only if Morgan participates in the purge of the countless walkers from the shipyard. Interested, Morgan enlists Daniel's help for the cause. However, They both refuse the offer when Shrike informs them that the task must be completed manually, without the use of guns. This is required because she does not want them to damage the containers in the shipyard aboard, which are filled with essential supplies for Padre's expansion. Dwight and Sherry then take Finch with them to act as decoys in order to allow Morgan and Mo to escape with Grace. Realizing that their time is limited and that her symptoms have progressed too far, Morgan and Grace decide to head to a safe house that Grace had built as she wants to have a moment with her family there. Meanwhile, Finch's condition worsens and his fever returns. The treatment administered by June seems to be failing, and June heads over to Dwight and Sherry to assess the damage. Mo rebels against her parents' decision when Morgan is separated from them. Deciding to head over to the medical train car instead in hopes of helping her mother, Dove is one of the prefects guarding the train and responds to Mo's desperate plea for help in order to save her mother, and allows her to board the medical car. Mo communicates with June, who provides instructions on how to administer the radiation treatment. However, it is too late, and Grace passes away. Soon after she turns, and Mo, overwhelmed by grief, is unable to bring herself to kill her mother's reanimated existence. She is saved by Morgan, who instinctively puts Walker Grace down. In the aftermath of this devastating loss, Mo resolves to rejoin Padre, seeking an escape from the pain that haunts her. As the group prepares for a crucial confrontation with the walkers at the shipyard, Shrike strategically locks Morgan inside the train car, surrounded by a herd of the undead. United under Shrike's leadership, Mo, along with her companions, gears up to engage in a fierce battle against the numerous walkers. Succumbing once again to his recurring madness, Morgan manages to escape from the confinements of the train car. He is brought to his senses by Madison, and one look around makes him realize that he had lost control, as he laid waste to a dozen walkers single-handedly. Fearing his condition is back and his lack of control over it, he urges Madison to stay away from him. Madison holds on to her resolve and persuades Morgan to join her and Daniel in saving the children from the horde at the shipyard. Fueled by his desire to save Mo, Morgan agrees and joins the faction. In their valiant attempt to outmaneuver the overwhelming horde of walkers at the shipyard, Mo and the prefects lead them into the treacherous swamps, ultimately steering them towards Morgan's sanctuary, a houseboat nestled amidst the murky waters. Unable to find what she is looking for at the shipyard, Shrike comes to the realization that her father holds the coveted coordinates that Padre desperately seeks, as they were hidden inside his binoculars. Elsewhere, Morgan fails to control himself and snaps in and out of his vengeful state, each time being awoken by Madison and Daniel, who barely manage to survive his berserk attacks. The faction then finally reaches the shipyard, only to find the horde of walkers has been led away by the prefects towards the swamp. Meanwhile, Shrike orders her prefects to secure the binoculars that are being carried by her reanimated father, by any means necessary. A fateful turn of events ensues, as Morgan, consumed by his inner turmoil, finds himself trapped alongside Mo at the houseboat. In a display of selflessness, he aids Mo's escape before being rescued by Madison. However, they once again find their escape cut short by the emergence of Shrike from the rear of the woods. Just as all hope seems lost, an unexpected savior emerges from the depths of the swamp, General Krennic, who is now a walker. Shrike is unable to react to the sight of her father in his horrible reanimated state, and allows herself to be overpowered and bitten by him. Madison, seizing the moment, swiftly dispatches Krennic and seizes the vital coordinates. Meanwhile, Ben has captured the parent faction led by Daniel and is about to execute them. However, the prefects are unwilling to kill the parents. Soon after, Morgan and Madison show up and convince Ben to stand down. In the medical train car, Shrike, who was brought there by June, is slowly dying. In an act of compassion, June accedes to Finch's dying wish and allows Ben to mercifully end Shrike's suffering, and tells him that he should look for another place to live when he is done. As the dust settles, the devastating toll of the losses becomes ever more apparent. Dwight and Sherry, recognizing the perpetual pain their relationship inflicts upon each other, make the difficult decision to part ways for good, seeking solace in their newfound independence. Finally finding peace amidst the ruins, Morgan pays tribute to his fallen comrades, laying grace to eternal rest near Eastman's cabin, the home of his former mentor. In a testament to their resilience, Morgan and Mo, armed with a new sense of purpose, resolve to journey to Alexandria in search of Rick Grimes. Meanwhile, Madison, driven by a steadfast determination to rebuild Padre according to its original vision, broadcasts her message to the surviving remnants of the conflict. Unbeknownst to her, an unknown female in possession of Strand's sunglasses and Alicia's prosthetic arm listens to her message and gears up for something.
Let's go, baby.